Welcome to The Explainer. We are going to dedicate our entire time together to unpacking just one single, incredibly profound verse from the Qur'an, Surah An-Naziat, Ayah 12. You know, as students of this text, it is just so easy to get caught up in reading pages and pages, right? And in doing that, we completely miss the immense depth layered into a single sentence. So today, we're stopping, we're focusing, we're going to examine the history, the psychology, and the absolute spiritual reality packed into just a few words. Let's dive right in.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1.
Now, this philosophy of a verse a day brilliantly illustrates exactly what the optimal approach for deep learning really looks like. And why is that so absolutely crucial for us? Well, human attention is finite, right? This is exactly how students understand Surah An-Naziat effectively. By isolating our focus down to just a single verse, we shift from passively reading to actively dissecting. We actually give ourselves the mental space to internalize the vocabulary, to sit with the context, and to let the spiritual weight of those words really sink into our hearts. It's the hallmark of how true students understand Scripture: patience and precision, way over pure volume.
Moving right along to Section 2, decoding Ayah 12.
قالوا تلك إذا كرة خاسرة.
This right here is your foundational starting point. We don't just jump straight to translations. We always anchor ourselves to the original revelation. And look, even if you aren't fluent in Arabic, visually acknowledging that source text connects you to the rhythmic and linguistic reality of the verse. It forces us to stop and ask, what are these specific words doing here? Who exactly is saying them? And why?
To really understand what those Arabic words mean, let's look at two highly respected English translations. Pickthall renders it as, they say, then that would be a vain proceeding. Meanwhile, Yusuf Ali translates it like this. They say, it would, in that case, be a return with loss. I really want you to focus on those two phrases for a second. Vain proceeding and return with loss. The Arabic word hasara implies a devastating total deficit. We're talking about a transaction where you literally lose everything. But notice the framing here. They say. This is a quote. The text is quoting a very specific group of people. And to understand the tone of this quote, whether it's fearful or analytical or maybe even mocking, we have to look at the historical timeline.
Which brings us to Section 3, context of the revelation.
So, the absolutely crucial context to grasp here is that Surah An-Naziat is a Makki revelation. That means it was revealed in the city of Makkah, very early in the Prophet's mission, into a highly hostile environment. The core theme of this surah establishes the reality of the hereafter. Yet the polytheists of Makkah fiercely rejected the concept of al-ghayb, the unseen. When they were warned of resurrection, they didn't just, disagree politely. No, they mocked it. When they said it would in that case be a return with loss, they were essentially rolling their eyes. They were basically saying, oh, sure, if we actually come back to life after our bones are literal dust, well then we'd really be losers, wouldn't we? It was a massive, arrogant joke to them.
Let's look at Section 4, the ultimate irony. According to the insights from Tafsir Ibn Kathir, by sarcastically stating it would be a return with loss, the disbelievers unknowingly spoke an absolute terrifying truth. It is the ultimate irony. They thought they were shutting down the whole debate with a clever, sarcastic little quip. But the Quran immortalizes their quote to point out that their sarcastic admission is actually prophetic. If the resurrection is real, which the source text insists it absolutely is, they will undoubtedly be the ultimate losers for having spent their entire lives denying it. They essentially wrote their own guilty verdict while trying to tell a joke. It's just a stunning piece of rhetoric that students of the text really must pause and appreciate.
And this brilliantly illustrates the dividing line between two completely different worldviews. On one hand, we have the mockery of the unseen, that flippant, arrogant sarcasm of the Makkans treating human existence like it's just a punchline. Contrast that with absolute conviction. True believers are described in the text as Yūqinūn, those who have absolute, unwavering certainty in the hereafter. For a student trying to understand this verse, the contrast is incredibly stark and completely intentional. Faith isn't presented just as a simple belief, it's framed as deep reverence. It requires a heavy, respectful certainty that stands in direct, unyielding opposition to the mockery and doubt of those who reject the message.
And finally, so how do we actually use this? Here's a quick 3-step curriculum for applying Ayah 12 right now, today. Step 1, anchor your heart in the unseen. The teaching suggests that true faith requires absolute belief in al-ghayb. In our modern world, a world completely obsessed with only what we can measure and see, you have to actively protect your heart from the disease of doubt. Step 2, guard your tongue.
Remember how the disbelievers use sarcasm, cynicism, and mocking the truth are distinct traits of rejection. As a believer, as a student of knowledge, the lesson here is to always speak of the hereafter with reverence, never with flippancy or sarcasm. The words you use literally shape the state of your heart. And step 3, live for the return. Let the reality of the hereafter dictate your daily actions. If you know that return is coming, align your life so that your inevitable meeting is one of immense triumph, not the profound loss those cynics joked about.
To close out our explainer today, I want to leave you with this incredibly powerful thought from Tafsir Ibn Kathir. Just listen to this. Yawm Ad-Din is the day of recompense. On that day, Allah will reckon the creation for their deeds, evil for evil, good for good. We started this session by looking at a group of people who joked about a return with loss. But the reality of this quote? It removes all the humor. It is a sobering, crystal-clear reminder of what the stakes actually are. Every action, every word, every sarcastic quib, and every single moment of sincere study is being weighed. So I'll leave you with this question. When your personal day of recompense arrives and your ledger is opened up, will your life's work result in a return of ultimate loss or a return of unimaginable victory? Keep studying, keep reflecting, and I will see you in the next explainer.